How far would a mother go to erase her past and start afresh on a clean slate? This is the story of Diane Downs, a woman who in 1983 decided to commit a heinous crime against her children by trying to eliminate them and claimed that they were as a result of a carjacking gone wrong. Her lies were eventually exposed, and the events leading up to this monstrous act has continued to captivate the public, and in a disturbing manner, her mental health has been called into question. Diane Downs was born on August 7, 1955 in Phoenix, Arizona. Her parents, Wesley and Willardine Fredrickson, were both alcoholics and had a tumultuous relationship. Diane and her siblings were often neglected and abused. Their home was chaotic and unstable. Despite this, Diane was a bright and ambitious student who excelled in sports and academics. She dreamed of becoming a nurse and worked hard to achieve her goals. However, Diane's childhood was marred by abuse, first at the hands of a teenage neighbor and later by her own father. She kept these traumas hidden for years. She never received the support and therapy she needed to process her experiences. As a teenager, Diane became pregnant and gave birth to a daughter, Christy. She would later have two more children, Cheryl and Danny, with her first husband, Steve Downs. The couple divorced in 1980, and Diane moved with her children to Oregon. Throughout her life, Diane displayed a number of behaviors that were concerning and unusual. She had a history of lying and exaggerating, often telling wild stories about her experiences and accomplishments. She was also known for her promiscuity and had many sexual partners throughout her life. In addition, Diane had a preoccupation with firearms and owned several guns, despite her lack of training or experience with them. Diane's mental health was also a cause for concern. She had a history of depression and had been hospitalized for a suicide attempt in 1979. She was prescribed medication for her mental health issues but often failed to take it regularly. Friends and family members noted that Diane was often emotionally distant from her children and seemed more interested in pursuing her own interests and relationships. On May 19, 1983, Diane Downs was driving her children, 8-year-old Christy, 7-year-old Cheryl, and 3-year-old Danny, home from a visit to a friend's house. She claimed that a stranger had flagged her down and shot her and her children before fleeing the scene. When emergency responders arrived, they found the children critically injured and Diane with a gunshot wound to her arm. Tragically, one of her kids, her 7-year-old daughter Cheryl, died at the scene. Her other two children, 3-year-old Danny and 8-year-old Christy, were also shot but survived. Danny and Christy were seriously injured and required extensive medical treatment, but they survived their injuries. However, Diane's story quickly unraveled under close scrutiny. Investigators found no evidence of a struggle or chase, as Diane had claimed. In addition, the trajectory of the bullet wounds suggested that the children had been shot from a close range rather than from a passing car. Diane's behavior after the shooting was also odd. She was observed making flirtatious comments to a male police officer and showed little concern for her children's well-being. Further investigation revealed that Diane had a motive for the murders. She was involved in a tumultuous relationship with a married man named Robert Knickerbocker. She was hoping to start a new life with him, free from the burden of her children. In addition, Diane was deeply resentful of her daughter Christy, whom she believed was interfering with her plans to be with Knickerbocker. She had even attempted to kill Christy in a previous incident by giving her an overdose of a medication called Dalmane, which is a type of benzodiazepine used to treat insomnia. The overdose was not fatal, but Christy required medical treatment, but thank goodness Christy survived. Diane was eventually arrested and charged with murder. During the trial, Her behavior was erratic and unsettling. She displayed a lack of empathy or remorse for her child's death. She claimed that she loved her children and would never hurt them, but the evidence against her was overwhelming and suggested otherwise. Her surviving children, Christy and Danny, testified against her during her trial. Christy, who was 8 years old at the time of the shooting, testified about how her mother shot her and her siblings and described the events leading up to the shooting. Danny, who was 3 years old at the time, was too young to remember the shooting, but he did testify about his mother's behavior and actions leading up to the incident. Their testimony was a crucial part of the prosecution's case against Diane. Despite her denials, Diane was found guilty of all charges and sentenced to life in prison. Over the years, she has maintained her innocence and has appealed her conviction several times. However, her appeals have been consistently denied and she remains behind bars to this day. In the aftermath of the murders, many people have raised questions about the state of Diane's mental health. Some experts believe that Diane Downs may have been suffering from borderline personality disorder, and this may have caused her erratic behavior and lack of empathy towards her children and those around her. And others have also pointed out that Diane Downs' traumatic experiences as a child may have led her down this monstrous act that she committed against her children. But regardless of whatever the underlying cause may be, the fact still remains that Diane Downs committed a heinous crime, and a child lost her life that day, and her mother would forever spend the rest of her life in prison, atoning for her sins. This case has become a cautionary tale about the importance of addressing underlying mental health issues and providing support to those who may be undergoing trauma. Until next time, humans, stay safe out there.